satisfied with the decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. In order to meet the Governor's Executive Order 16 regarding electronic meetings, the items on the meeting agenda constitute essential business of this body, and meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Is there a second of that? Is there a second motion, please?
I'll second that motion. This is Nora.
All right. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We move for approval of today's agenda. Is there a first?
Sarah Lee, I move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. Is there a second, please?
Nora, a second.
Who is that? Nora?
Yep.
Nora? Ms. Nora Kern seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is approved. Aye. All right. On the minutes, I've been advised that the minutes of last month's meeting are not ready yet, so I will make a motion to defer the approval of the minutes until next month. Is there a second?
This is Ms. Woods. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, great. Items on the consent agenda. Please note that items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the commission requests that the item be removed from the consent agenda. Are there any items that people would like to have removed or require special consideration?
John, this is Nora. I didn't have an item to remove, but I did just have a question for staff
Okay.
about the truck limits.
The one in Council District 24?
Well, there's a couple of them, which is okay.
Oh, there's also one in 16.
Yeah, just before we vote for approval, I was just hoping the staff could just update us on what they consider when making recommendations about truck limits and how these kind of come up before us. The no truck items, which I think is in Council District 16 and in 24.
Yeah, there's several of them on there, I see. Mr. Knopf, could you please explain to the commission members the criteria for the truck limits, please? Hello? Chip?
Took me a minute to find my button, sorry. So first of all, difference in truck restriction and truck prohibition. Truck prohibition, if you ever see that on here, and worded that way, it's because the roadway itself cannot handle the weight of the road or bridge. And we've seen those sometimes. When you say no trucks or truck restriction, it's because of, I hate to use this word, but it's appropriate, nuisance trucks. They're cutting through neighborhoods when they could stay on arterials or collectors. And that's the case for these. Council people are getting messages from their constituent of trucks cutting through. So we look at the geographic area and we see if there's a different route the truck should be on. It does not prohibit deliveries or business on the streets. It's really a cut-through rule. So if you're cutting through in your truck, you should go a different route.
Got it.
I'm not sure that helps, Nora, but we can talk more about it if you want.
All right. Does that help?
Yeah, that answers my questions. I just was curious kind of what was considered when allowing them and where they came from. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
All right. And I would like to welcome Council Member Aaron Evans, who is on the call. I see you have several items on the consent agenda. Welcome, Ms. Evans?
Here to listen, and I didn't think anybody'd have any questions about speed limit reductions.
No,
But I'm
no,
available just in case anybody does.
We usually like those. Okay. Any other request on the consent agenda? If not, I will read the consent agenda and move for approval. Any other comments? Okay. Consent agenda resolution 2008, authorize speed limit reduction of 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour for the following streets in the 7 Point area, requested by Council Member Evans. 7 Points Trace, 7 Points Pass, 7 Points Circle, Kaylee Meadows Lane, Leona Pass. Next item, authorize all-way stop at McCall Street and Mimosa Avenue, requested by Council Member Welsh. Next item, authorize no trucks over 8 tons on Keystone Avenue from Allied Drive to Veritas Drive. That's been requested by a resident. Authorize all-way stop at 12th Avenue North at Herman Street, requested by the Catalyst Design Group. Authorize 15-minute parking for passenger loading at 1511 Herman Street, requested by the Catalyst Design Group. Authorize no trucks over 8 tons on the following streets, requested by Council Member Murphy. 37th Avenue North from Murphy Road to Sentinel Drive, Dakota Avenue from 46th Avenue North to 42nd Avenue North, Nebraska Avenue from 46th Avenue North to 37th Avenue North, Colorado, I assume that's Colorado Avenue, from 46th Avenue North to 40th Avenue North.
Correct.
Authorize speed limit reductions from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour on Duncanwood Drive from Granny White Pike to Brookmead Drive, requested by Council Member Pulley. And authorize no trucks over 8 tons on Baxter Lane from Trousdale Drive to Overton Drive, requested by Council Member Johnston. That is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Hey, this is
Yes.
Ken Walburn from the police department. I have a question about the Keystone Avenue.
Yes.
And Chip, I'm not sure if you can answer this or not, but it looks like there's a masonry company, and that, I'm just looking at a map. It looks like that's the only way in and out of their business. I don't know if that affects them. Since it's a request by a resident, I was wondering if somebody can clarify if we're going to that business by preventing them to come in and out of their business.
No, sir, it does not apply to, if you're legally conducting business, you're exempt.
Okay. That was it. Thank you.
All right.
Chairman Green,
Yes,
are you reading from the revised agenda?
I hope so. Did I miss something?
I didn't hear you say right above that 8 tons on Murphy Road, there was a council district.
Yes, there was authorized 15-minute parking on the west side of 5th Avenue from Jefferson Street to Junior Gilliam Way, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., requested by Barge, Cawthon and Associates. Is that correct?
That's correct. I didn't hear you say it. You may have.
I think I left that out. Thank you. So the consent agenda has been read. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. O'Connell. Is there a second?
Second.
From Ms. Woods. All in favor?
Wait, real quick, I do have just one point of a question about this before we vote on it.
Okay.
Mr. McGough, is it true that if something is on consent that staff generally viewed it favorably, right? Like nothing on here, whether requested by a resident or a council member, all of those things would have had staff approval in order to be on consent. Is that correct?
Correct. We're in agreement with whoever requested it, and so we don't really need to debate it. Now, however, if somebody ever wants to talk about it, we of course can.
Oh, sure. I just wanted to make sure that that was the case. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved as read. All right, the next item is a deferred item from the last meeting, which was to authorize a valet zone at 1 Music Square West for Virgin Hotel, requested by Premier Parking. This was in council member and commission member Freddie O'Connell's district. Do we have any further information since the last meeting, staff?
Diane, if you need me to change my screen, let me know. I defer to Ms. Marshall.
Hello?
I think Diane is trying to get connected here.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess while we're waiting on a staff update, I guess I left last meeting a little confused about where we stand with regard to some of these bigger picture items. You know, I guess at some level, especially with the cord item on today's agenda, I would like to be in a position where I felt like we, as a commission, were pursuing some form of overall parking modernization by way of either recommendation or strategic plan so that we could give guidance to the mayor's office and the rest of council, for instance, about, you know, appropriate capital investments for meters, for, you know, valet permit fee restructuring, you know, street removal enforcement, and any of these things. I feel like I'd like to move forward on. I guess I've a little bit lost the thread of where we are on this.
I'll jump in while we're waiting. I agree with you. And Mr. Riveros, if you want to jump in, we're here to listen, but I totally agree with you. And I know Mr. Riveros agrees with you. And we're getting a presentation today about some legislation. But with that said, I think Mr. Massimo is going to shed some light on your bigger picture question.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll call Diane, or I'll send Diane a text if you want to move on to the presentation.
Yes, why don't we do that? Let's move on to the presentation, because then is the presentation relating to the ordinance amendment regarding the loading and unloading zone, or is it?
It's about curbside fee structuring.
Yeah, fee structuring. So that would be great. Who is making that presentation, please? Is that Ms. Eichert?
Yes, John. I'm going to be joined by Don Miller with Cord,
Okay.
and Terry Costonis also may want to chime in related to the Metro Charter and the piece of legislation that we are running through council. And I think at this meeting, you're going to need to vote to make a recommendation to council on for third reading. So
Okay.
I guess to start, we'll have Cord do the presentation. And okay, so Don's been handed the baton. I'll do a little bit of introduction for Don. I presented to Traffic and Parking, I think, at a previous meeting about this pilot that Nashville has been awarded by Cord, which is a technology company that is in the curb management space. And Dawn's background, I'll do a little bit of intro on her, was previously the chief of staff at the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission, the agency that oversees New York City's taxi, car service, and ride-hailing industries. There, her team created the first ever minimum wage protections for Uber and Lyft drivers, landmark policies to combat congestion and pollution from ride-hailing vehicles, and regulations that brought best-in-nation access to ride-hailing services for people with disabilities. She's also served as Director of Research and Evaluation at New York City's TLC, and she has a master's in public affairs from Princeton and a Bachelor of Government from the University of Virginia. And she's just going to give a quick overview of CORD and what they have in mind for the 4 pilot cities, of which Nashville is one, to run the pilot project here. So, Dawn, you're set up? I'll let you take it away.
Great. Thank you so much for that introduction. Can everyone see my screen? It says Smart Zone Pilot Program.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you,
Great.
Ms. Miller, and welcome to the Traffic Commission.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for having me here today. As Mary Beth was saying, I came recently out of city government, and we also had a board of commissions, and so I actually get a little nostalgic for that part of my job that now is only occasional, whereas before we lived and breathed by preparing for each month's Taxi and Limousine Commission meeting. So anyway, a bit of an aside, but thank you for having me here today. And let's see, oops, too far. So yeah, I'm the head of policy and partnerships at CORD, and we're a curb space management technology company, and we're completely and utterly focused on curb space management as really this powerful tool that most cities already have jurisdiction over, that we believe they can leverage to meet their mobility goals, improve safety, and provide better access for all different types of users. And so we were really delighted when we heard earlier this year from Metro Nashville. We put out a call to cities who were interested in partnering on a digital curb challenge to do a curb space management pilot program. And we're just very impressed by, I think, the vision we heard for, kind of taking Nashville from where you are today on some of the parking and loading issues, and using the pilot as an opportunity to learn a lot, and we will be learning alongside with you. That's because it is a new type of technology, deploying in a group of cities, and just thought that Nashville seemed like really wonderful partners with really facing the types of challenges in terms of congested and chaotic curbs that we're hoping to work with cities to address. So as a bit of background, there is this real need for loading space. Before COVID, food and parcel delivery and ride hailing were kind of more and more competing for curb space. Now what we're seeing, ride hailing is down, but food and parcel delivery are up, and we're even seeing businesses that never did curbside delivery and pickup and all that stuff doing it as a real way to keep running in these times. But curb space and space in general are scarce in busy areas of cities, and so cities are looking to manage the space more effectively. There's a lot of congestion and double parking that can result from kind of less managed curbs, and so that can result in kind of the safety issues associated with double parking and vehicles needing to go around other vehicles, blocked crosswalks for pedestrians, cyclists having to swerve out of the rightmost lane to kind of keep their path going. So there's a lot of, I think, impacts on the whole mobility system that come from really not having loading space managed well. And really, we see well-managed loading space as something that promotes the economic vitality of a downtown or commercial area. These businesses need to receive supplies and services. They need to do outgoing deliveries at times to fulfill their customers' requests. And they want to make, visiting the area pleasant for the people who either live there, work there, or who are visiting, and getting ahead of some of this, the chaos at the curb is one way we think we can do that. Oops. And so what are the goals of the pilot program? To improve the curb access experience for the delivery and service vehicle drivers, to support the brick and mortar business success in general, and which is becoming even a bigger part of brick and mortar businesses are becoming a bigger part of the kind of e-commerce economy we're seeing, to improve the coordination, safety, and compliance during loading and service calls, and to promote the downtown vitality. And so we are looking to pilot something we're calling a smart zone. And a smart zone doesn't mean there's like a lot of blinking lights and kind of crazy technology on the street. Really, the minimum technology we see is that it's well marked, so people come up to the site of the smart zone and can see that it's a special place, and that the way you use it is by booking it using a mobile app. And what we know is that people who are driving as part of their job, which is really the target market for a smart zone, they're already using mobile phones and mobile devices as one way, as part of their job. And so this is something that would be integrated into the way we're seeing they're doing their work already.
May I ask a question? Is that okay to ask a question to interrupt?
Yeah.
Okay, this is John Green. So my question about this is, how does this mobile app send? Do you have signage? Do you put sensors on the curbs? Because I'm aware there's various ways this can be done. And is this similar technology can be used for, I guess, parking meters?
So to your first question, our technology does not require sensors on the ground. The way that we are able to, and I'll walk you through the app itself a little bit in a minute, but the way we're able to let those drivers know if there are spaces available is because our system has all the data about whether they're available or not, because they can only be booked using an app. So that's the way we know. Of course, as you as an audience know better than anyone, compliance is never 100%. So sensors are something that we have a discussion with cities if they want to test those out to see if basically it is worthwhile to enhance those predictions about availability using occupancy sensors. But there are real trade-offs, right? Sensors have an expense associated with purchasing, installing, and maintaining them. And so one thing that we and the partner cities that choose this kind of variant of the pilot program will be learning is whether the enhancements to enforcement and the quality of the predictions drivers get are significant enough that it's worthwhile to have the expense of the sensors. And so, but our core program does not involve them. It's really the way that it's really monitored all through the mobile apps that drivers already have, and through basically the city staff have a desktop app where they see what's going on, and then we have a mobile app for enforcement officers to be able to see who has and hasn't booked into the site properly, so they can know when they're on the street what's going on. Does that answer what you were asking?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Of course. Great. And hopefully, this is why I have a hard time doing this about my slides. Hopefully when I show you, it'll become a little more clear. Sometimes it's hard to explain in words. So this is the core driver app. And this is something, we work with the city partners. In this case, would be Department of Public Works, to do a tremendous amount of outreach in advance, both to the local businesses who are near a smart zone, but also to the fleets who are the users of the smart zone. And it's the drivers who sign up and get a mobile app. And before they begin their first smart zone use, they set up an account, they put in their information, because we want to minimize the amount of interaction drivers have with the phone while they're actually on their shift. So all of that stuff is set up in advance. to minimize the flow when they actually start their shift. And so this is really like the key screen. When a driver is basically, leaving one stop and heading to his next stop, he can enter his destination into the bar at the top. And then when he's about half a mile away, this screen will pop up and it will show the loading zones in the area of his destination. And so the yellow ones would be traditional loading zones that, are likely to still exist for a while. And then the ones with the little bubbles on top are the smart zones. And what's special about those is they'll show the availability. And we think the availability information can be very helpful to the delivery drivers in knowing, if I make the effort of going around the corner or up the block from where I might usually pull over and double park or whatnot, I have a good sense that there's going to be a spot for me when I get there. And that's one of the things that provides them with this information and incentive to go to this place that has been legally created for them to load. And so if they see that one with the green, if that looks like a good location, what they'll do is they'll click on it, and then it's held for 5 minutes so that they have enough time to safely get there. And during that time, it's taken off the system so that other drivers aren't also heading to that zone. So taken off the system, it's held. And then when that driver gets there, there's a sign to show, yep, you're at the right spot. You indicate that you've arrived, how long you need the space for. And then you get a ticker about how long you have. And at the city's option, there's options for the driver to be able to extend the amount of time in the zone if things are taking a little longer than expected and things like that. And then also very powerfully is that, as you might imagine, if drivers are using this to find their space to load and then they're paying for their time to load. There's a lot of really important information that goes back to the team at Metro. It's most cities, I might dare say every city has a real shortage of information about what's going on in terms of their commercial freight delivery vehicle activity. And so this is a way to start getting a handle on all of that activity, basically what types of vehicles are searching for space, when and where, how long are they staying, things like that, so that programs like this and other broader mobility planning that you're engaging in have a new set of data to rely upon and to monitor how everything is doing.
So Dawn, can I jump in real quick there on that point?
Sure.
Will Metro have full access to that data from Cord as a result of this partnership?
Yes. And what we do is kind of try to tailor to different types of users. There's a dashboard that's kind of the easy day-to-day thing to be able to look at what's going on and kind of like a management operations function. You can see in the top right, everything is exportable to CSV so that the folks who are wanting to combine it with other data sets or do some fancier analysis are able to do that. The other thing that we do when we're doing a pilot, because this is really a learning experience for both us and for the city, is we have a broader evaluation that is beyond just the data that are collected organically by our app, but also getting qualitative feedback from users about their experience and doing on-street we engage transportation consultants to do field observations so that we can see not just the experience of the people using the zones, but is it making an impact on everyone else going down that block? Is it reducing double parking and some of those other problems that are really one of the core things that this is trying to get at? It's trying to improve the experience for those drivers, but also everyone else around those delivery drivers. And so there's the data that you're going to get automatically, but then for the pilot, we also work with the city to design an evaluation so that you get the information to really figure out, is this generating the desired impacts? Is this something that is worthwhile to extend or expand? And I think that was it for me. Yes. Any other questions or I can answer, or feedback or comments from the members?
Hi, this is John. Where have you done this today, or what other cities have done this, and have they done it on a similar basis as this? Please.
So the closest application that has already occurred is in Dublin, Ireland. But there we were partnering with another company, and they called it virtual zones. And it was the same idea of digitally designating the space and the rules for the space and communicating it out to drivers. But the way that they did it there was they actually didn't have the signage. It was more like almost like pop-up loading zones and so our technology supported that project. But we think that in the United States, at least, it's very important to have some kind of physical signage on the streets to communicate to members of the public what is there, what's going on there, how they can participate. So we have kind of, I think, learned from that experience and created, this program that's a variant of it. Right now, we are in the thick of planning a very similar program with the city of Omaha that we expect will launch in September. We're also beginning planning with Aspen, Colorado, and the other city is West Palm Beach, Florida. So we have a nice variety of geographies and sizes of cities, and I think what we're hoping to do from all this is really develop a set of best practices. And what's been nice is, as we're in the thick of planning with Omaha, we're sort of figuring things out with them that we'll bring to the Metro Nashville Public Works team as kind of a starting point, knowing this worked really well in Omaha, this really didn't. So it's kind of nice that something similar is being developed slightly before your city that we'll be able to draw on in Nashville.
Hi, Don. This is Nora. I just have a couple questions, and maybe, I don't know if we are covering these later, but you did mention that we would be charging, and so I was curious about how the fee for the use of the curb would be used, and if those have been set, or if that's still up in the air.
So our technology enables Metro to charge fees for use of the space, but as far as the fee setting and the schedule, we have some ideas, but really that is up to you guys. Mary Beth, did you want to chime in on any of that, or Terry?
Yeah, that's what the BL 2023-80 is delegating that to the Traffic and Parking Commission. So once we figure out our pilot location and framework, we will, and I'll let Terry go over the legislation for you, but we'll come back with you. And I expect there'll be a relatively nominal fee since this is a pilot. But it's a way to encourage compliance and make sure that the space is used the way it's supposed to be used.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I would add, like, the fee is also, I think, helpful really as a management tool for the city. Some cities you probably heard do are like performance-based parking pricing, and basically they have like formulas for adjusting the prices to create availability for users. And so, like, Seattle is an example of this. They target having about, I think, 20% availability in their parking so that people don't have to circle around and around for parking. And so if they have 50% availability, that means they lower the prices. And if they have 95% availability, they raise the prices to create a little more availability. And it's quite successful. Like it actually works, that tweaking these prices periodically impacts people's behavior. And I think the same principle applies to loading. So it's a way to help create availability for people who are very sensitive about when and where they load. So the price can be a tool to shift the location of loading slightly. If someone would be willing to pay the slightly lower price for the one around the corner than the one right in front that's most prime, that can kind of help spread availability. And it can also, same thing over time, if you have peak times that you want to cut down on a little bit because it's too crowded, those can be higher priced than ones a little before and a little after. So it's kind of it's a tool that I think can help manage basically demand for curbside space from the users. But I think as Mary Beth said, pilots are a little different, but just I wanted to share kind of the broader vision for what is possible when you are having some pricing incentive involved in people's loading choices.
Great, thank you. And I did have one other question, which was about enforcement and how that would work in Nashville. We have definitely seen on this commission challenges around all sorts of parking enforcement, and so curious if there were plans yet for how that would work here. I don't know if there's any, like if someone parked without using the app in one of the spaces, would that kind of depend on MNPD going out and giving the ticket, or how would that work?
Sure. So there's a few things we do that are sort of like the preventive medicine. And that's where, really clear markings come in, where some outreach at the beginning of the program comes in so that people who pull into it and maybe are the type of users you should have, they get a palm card from someone instructing them how to get the app, that kind of thing. We also don't think that 100% compliance is necessary for this to work. It's more that it needs to be reliable enough for those users that more than 90% of the time that space they held is going to be open for them when they get there. And so into sort of our system, we allow for a little like liquidity in the space so that we don't book a space up to the gills. We leave a little flex in there to promote reliability. The other thing that we do that we cause is that we don't allow you to reserve the space like tomorrow, because life is uncertain and your schedule doesn't go the way it's supposed to. And so although some delivery drivers might say they'd like to reserve spaces tomorrow, and that we don't really think it necessarily reflects the reality of driving around a city. So by only allowing that booking in the last half mile of your trip, also creates, I think, more of a realistic expectation about whether the space is going to be available for you. So all of that said, we've built a tool to support enforcement in the pilot, and I have it here. So it's also a mobile app, and basically the officers, when they're on their regular routes, they're able to scan the license plates of the vehicles in the zone, and then they get a response back of whether the vehicle is authorized to be there or not, and then take whatever appropriate action, and that is up to Nashville to decide what that is. And it could vary from the beginning of the program, when it's more of an educational approach, to later on being enforcement. The beyond this tool, there's another component of this tool is that basically if a driver does get to a zone, that was supposed to be available for him, and it's not. There's a button in the app that person presses, and that sends an alert through this app to the enforcement officers. So if anyone is nearby, they can go and address the issue with the unauthorized vehicle that has been basically reported there by the user. The other thing, and you saw that kind of data dashboard, is that aggregates each time somebody reports an unauthorized vehicle or an officer does a scan and finds an unauthorized vehicle there. So sort of in the back end management functions of the enforcement team, they can see where the problem areas are and are not, and can incorporate that into planning. So there isn't, a hyper automated enforcement with a camera taking a picture of every license plate and all that stuff as part of this program. But we've thought about the enforcement issue a great deal, and this is kind of the suite of tools that we've made to support the city's efforts. And I don't know if Mary Beth or Terry had anything to add to that, but that's kind of what we bring to the table to support enforcement.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna, like Dawn said, do the best we can with the personnel that we have, Nora. So our traditional enforcement mechanisms for loading and unloading would be the public works inspectors in partnership with MNPD, and using the tools that court has.
Okay. Hi, this is John Green again. I have a couple more questions, please. What's the test zone for this pilot? And then what's the time period for the test, and what kind of data are we going to get back to kind of indicate how well it has gone? What are kind of the metrics, I guess, for evaluating how successful a program like this is or is not, please?
So we have not selected our curb locations yet, Chair Green. We're really just in the process of getting our legislation passed in order to run the pilot. But we'll be working with the planning department, downtown stakeholders, and others to figure out the best location for the target audience that we are looking at, being commercial delivery vehicles, and where we might have a lot of double parking going on. So we'll be talking with Diane and MMPD about that to figure out, the best location. And if Jorge or Dawn want to talk about the timeline, we think we want to do this after the holiday season has passed, just given what's going on in the downtown in the COVID environment, and make sure we're launching at a time frame where we want to collect the best and most amount of data.
Okay.
Dawn, do you want to answer the data question Chair Green had?
Sure. Yeah, there'll be. We're looking, at a few things in terms of evaluating the pilot. One is the satisfaction of the parties involved. So is this something that is working for the companies performing the deliveries? Is it something that's working for the brick and mortar businesses who are receiving or sending out the deliveries? And is it working for the city staff who are overseeing the program? And so that's where we're going to be requesting a lot of feedback on the technology and the way things work, to really make it work for the people who are using it every day. In terms of data, there's a great deal of data that's kind of automatically generated by the drivers using it that the city will be able to benefit from. And that's things like what types of vehicles are looking for space. So are these gig economy food delivery drivers? Are they parcel delivery drivers like UPS or FedEx? Are they those beer trucks? Knowing what type of vehicle is looking for space at what time of day and in what areas, which I think can be helpful for understanding really how much and where and at what hours would loading space.
Hey, Don, this is Ken Walburn. A question for you.
Are they ending to prices to these as they really need it? I think. Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you.
Dawn, I think your connection's going in and out.
Oh no. Let me see if I can go a little closer to my router. Hi, can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. I stopped presenting because I thought maybe that would save some bandwidth. I'm sorry. I just heard you introduce yourself. I heard your first name, Ken, and then I'm sorry I didn't hear your question.
Hey, Don, this is Ken Walburn. When you're talking about the data and the data analysis, does the city still maintain control over where we select the loading zones?
Yes, that's the city's choice. Yeah, and you know, we have recommendations. You know, we recommend that they be at least 3 car lengths long, so like 60 feet or so, to accommodate some of those larger vehicles. And we think this is the type of program that makes sense in busy kind of commercial areas. Probably not a fit for other types of places that don't really have a you know, a congestion problem and a lot of loading. But I think the city staff really know the kind of problem and opportunity areas quite well often. And so we provide some data that can support those decisions, but it is the city's decision about where you'd like these to operate, the hours of operation, all of that stuff is the city's decision.
Thank you.
Sure. I wanted to also just mention that the other big source of data that is kind of part of a pilot that wouldn't be necessarily collected quite as much in a broader deployment is some of that that field data that our system doesn't automatically collect, but that we think is important for understanding the impact of the program on the transportation system. And that's where we bring in transportation consultants to help with evaluation, to look at levels of double parking, whether the zone areas with zones seem to have improvements in things like double parking and blocked traffic and things like that. So there's that other layer of kind of general impact on transportation in that area that also is something that goes to the city as part of doing a pilot program. Is there anything else I can share?
Yes. Ms. Costonis, are there any legal issues for the city about this? What are issues that you've been addressing for the city, please, ma'am?
So I would like to, if I may, sort of walk you through the legislation that is amending the chapter of the code that addresses our current loading and unloading zone provisions to kind of accommodate this program and this pilot. And I can do that by, if y'all could maybe pass the screen sharing ball to me, I can hopefully put up the the draft ordinance on the screen. I see that's up now. Let's see if that works. I have to share my screen. I forgot that part. I'm not going to do that. Can people see that now? EL 2020-380?
I see that. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we are amending the section of the code that currently addresses loading and unloading zones, which is 1248.020. And then we're also adding a new section of the code, 1248.025. And all of this is designed specifically to accommodate the pilot that you just heard information about. The aspects of 1248.020 that are just there in section 1 of the ordinance, the changes are really two primary things. One is to the ability to set fees. So instead of setting fees in the code itself, the ability to set the fees is being delegated to this commission. And this contemplates, and this kind of dovetails with something Ms. Miller said, that there are going to be, at least on a temporary basis, more than one kind of loading zone. There's going to be the kind of loading zone that we've always had, and then there are going to be these new special loading zones that are reservation only for the program. And so I thought as long as we were addressing it, we probably want to address the fees for the current type of loading zone as well. Kind of, if we're going to overhaul fees, kind of look at everything comprehensively. So that's one change. And then the other change is that the current code says that being an applicant for a loading zone does not entitle anyone to any special rights superior to the use of the general public. So all loading zones are open to everyone, basically. And of course, when you want to do something as reservation only, that's not entirely consistent with that. So we added the language that the Traffic and Parking Commission may, in regulations it adopts as part of its curb loading zone management program, allow certain curb loading zone spaces to be designated for the exclusive use of some users upon certain conditions being met, such as the payment of additional fees by those users. And then the new section that's created, 1248.025, is based on some language from Washington, D.C., which was one of the cities that did some of these things. Basically, it does delegate a lot of authority to this commission. So really, the concept here is that curb loading zone management will be a program. And it will be a program that is created by regulation by this commission. And it talks about some of the things that you can address in those regulations: establishing the loading zone usage permits and fees, determining minimum curb loading zone space requirements, providing for enhanced enforcement, including personnel, signage, and automation, determining eligibility for use of curb loading zones or specially designated curb loading zones, providing methods for payments of fees, establishing requirements for monitoring loading zone performance and adjusting usage rates. So all of these areas are things that you all can establish regulations to address. Some of you asked some questions about enforcement, so I kind of wanted to chip in this context about that as well. Chip, sorry, no pun on your name intended. The parking enforcement patrol officers are authorized to engage in enforcement not just for parking violations, but for other Metro Code parking, for other Metro Code parking, traffic and parking related violations. They would be able to write tickets for use, improper use of specially designated zones such as this, as would an MNPD officers, of course. So if it was determined that you all wanted to step up enforcement specific to this pilot or this program, then I assume one of the things you could take into consideration in setting fee amounts would be the cost of hiring perhaps additional parking enforcement patrol officer or something like that, if that was determined to be necessary. In terms of setting the fees, there are still constraints that we are kind of always under in the government context in Tennessee. We cannot set fees from a revenue generating perspective. We can set fees to cover costs. So if we set a sliding scale of fees to like incentivize or discourage certain types of behavior that's either considered good or bad within the program, we would need to do that kind of within a fee range that overall is justified to support the cost of the program. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I've got a question. This is Commissioner Woods.
Ma'am.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, ask away, Ms. Woods.
What is there anything needed from us today?
Yes, I think we need a vote.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding anything.
We need a recommendation of the ordinance from the commission to the council.
And hi, this is Nora. I just had one follow-up question. So the details of the program in terms of not just for the core program, but for the general program in terms of rates and application, all of that, are those still to be worked out, but this is just kind of allowing those to be made?
Yes, those regulations would be something that it would be up to this commission's discretion to adopt. So at this point, the change that is that would be recommended by the commission to the council, if you vote to approve this, would be just to change the code provisions to give this commission the authority to adopt regulations to kind of generally manage the program, including the setting of fees.
Well, I would make a motion to that we move to recommend support for the council bill, or whatever the language needs to be.
Okay. We have a first. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And that is who, please?
Ken Walburn.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Walburn. All right. We have first and second. Just a quick question, and I don't know if Jorge can answer this or Ms. Eichert. How does this fit into an overall plan the city has towards some, we'll use the term modernization of the parking? I know that's an open-ended, loaded question, but
Yeah. So currently, our main pay-to-play framework is just our metered parking. We have sort of nominal fees on establishment of loading zones in front of commercial businesses. We have relatively nominal fees on valet stand establishment, that sort of thing. So this is really a toe dip into the policy area that Dawn mentioned earlier around what Seattle is doing, is really trying to put dynamic pricing in place, collect a lot of data, and really just sort of bring a rationalization of policies and procedures to very limited curb space and increasingly urbanizing area where a variety of uses are in competition with each other. So this could be a good demonstration for the types of curb management planning and policies that we need more comprehensively in the downtown and in other areas where we're running into similar challenges.
Okay, I've got a follow-up to John's follow-up. This is Commissioner Woods.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. I don't want to vote on something if it's an overall privatization plan again. That'll have a lot of talk.
It's not. This is a policy that essentially adds authority to this commission to deal with the curb across the board. And the only private piece of this that we have technology component.
That's correct. The commission retains all of the authority over all the items in proposed new section 1248.025 that I was reading to you from the bill BL 2023-80. There was a separate agreement between Metro and Cord that was approved by council by resolution. But at this point, because this is a pilot, Cord is kindly not even really charging us for this. So it is a true pilot, and we actually approved it as a grant because of that, council did. So this is not a revenue generating thing for Cord.
When was this approved by the council?
It was not at this last council meeting, but maybe the one before. Is that right, Mary Beth?
I think so. That's around mid-July.
Ms. Kucinich, just to jump in for a clarifying question here. My understanding is we had to defer at council in order for action from this commission to take effect, right?
That was a deferral on the bill that's before you now, BL 2023-80. The resolution has passed. The resolution approving the pilot grant agreement.
Right, but the bill is necessary for a full implementation, correct?
Correct. And it was deferred at council for the purpose of coming to this commission as a mandatory referral to the commission at today's meeting.
Okay. So we have a first and a second. Is there any more questions or discussions before we have a vote?
One more question, John.
Please.
Who's sponsoring this again?
Councilmember O'Connell is carrying the bill in council. However, it is sort of being managed in conjunction with the administration.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions, comments, we have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, are there any opposed? Hearing no's, it passed unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Eichert. Thank you, Ms. Miller, for your presentation. And Ms. Costonis, as always, thank you for your legal advice.
Thank you all for having me.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll all be interested to find out how things go.
Well, and you'll, this will come back to you as the
Yes.
regulations are developed. So yeah, we'll,
It'll be
the
refreshing
conversation
to finally have
continues.
data. It will be refreshing to finally have data on some things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're not alone there.
All right.
And these companies don't hand it over to you voluntarily. So
Yes.
there's got to get creative sometimes
Yes.
to get the information you need to do what the public has charged you with doing, right?
Right. Right. All right. Well, thank you. We'll look forward to working with everyone. This takes us back to the item that we had deferred, which was relating to the valet stand. And I'm still not sure we have an answer about where we're headed overall with valet stands in the city. Are there any, about this Virgin Hotel, are there any, I know Commissioner and Council Member O'Connell had some questions. Are there any answers that we can provide concerning valet?
All right, it's Diane. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, finally you can hear me. Okay, in regards to the valet for the Virgin Hotel, it's on 1 Music Square West. The original request was for 10 spaces, and due to a fire hydrant and a crosswalk, we downsized it to 8 spaces. According to the code, valets are only supposed to be 2 spaces, so therefore any more spaces that are requested has to be approved by the commission. So your action would be to approve 8 spaces for the valet for the Virgin Hotel.
What hours are these spaces for?
This location is 24/7.
So that means during rush hour traffic, university high time traffic to get to the universities, going to have a lot more on-street parking.
The location of the zone is on Music Square West.
Right, I know where it is.
Okay, it's between Division and Chet Atkins.
Uh-huh.
And according to the code with valets, they're only allowed to store a vehicle in a valet lane for 10 minutes. So therefore, they have to have enough attendees there to make sure that the vehicles are moved out of the flow of traffic on a timely manner.
I guess, Ms. Marshall and Mr. Chair, do we run any risk of the, kind of causing any disruption to operation if we continue to defer this, leave them operating with a temporary permit until we hear Ms. DeMassimo's presentation in September? I guess I would really like to be issuing new valets under the terms of, an update. I mean, we're going to be coming up on a year.
Yes.
Since we first requested that fee study. And, I'd like to see some progress on that.
And all valets are renewed at the first of the year. We mail out invoices in December, around December the 10th, for all valets to renew their permits as of the first of the year.
All right. So that means that we really need to have a new updated fee structure in place by really no later than October. Is that correct, Ms. Costonis, from a legal perspective?
In terms of something passing through council with 3 readings, there are only, 2 council meetings per month. So Yes, allowing for, a deferral and maybe a referral to this commission as well. I think certainly legislation can take a couple months to go through at a minimum.
This is Commissioner Woods. I move to defer.
This is Commissioner Kern, second.
All right. We have a first and a second on a deferral. Any further discussion?
Now, with this deferral, we're going to give them a temporary permit for another 30 days. Is that correct?
That would be correct. So
Okay.
Another question, this is Mr. Green. What used to be in this space before the request for valet? Was it permit? Was it metered parking, or was it just street space? What was it used for, please?
To the best of my knowledge, it was street space.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So we have a first and a second. Is there more discussion on this item to defer this matter till the next meeting? I ask for the yeas and the nays. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. So the deferral passed indefinite for the next meeting. All right, Mr. Knopf, you were going to give us a little preview about a presentation we're having next month.
Well, not necessarily. I just wanted to put it on our agenda so you could kind of get a sneak peek of what we're going to be dealing with next month because of some of the agenda items we have this month.
Okay. Well, I think one of the things we're clearly hearing from commissioners that I think needs to be on the agenda for next month in September is some kind of plan relating to valet that we've been asking for since late last year, revised fee structure, etc. Is that right, fellow commissioners?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Chair, I see that personally as prelude, and maybe this will dovetail with what Mr. Massimo will present, but I think I joined the commission anticipating that we would, be in a position to work with staff to move quickly toward a response to overall modernization absent privatization, right? And so, I want to continue to see us make progress on that front.
Yes. All right. Staff, can we have something to review and that's of substance next month, please?
Yes, sir. And I do not want to speak for Mr. Massimo. I do not. She's going to present something about the overall transportation plan. I will make sure that we also include some form of valet update in there, whether it be staff or Mr. Massimo.
Okay. Ms. Eichert, if you could relay back to the mayor's office that the commission is very interested in getting some groundwork laid for valet, please.
I'm on it, John.
Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any other? I think another update we're looking for is where we stand relating to lowering speed limits around the county.
No problem.
Is that going to be part of our presentation next month as well?
It will be a presentation. I'm not sure to be included in hers or separate, but I'll put it on the agenda.
Okay. That would be helpful. Commissioners, are there other items that we need to make sure we're moving forward with, please? Okay. All right. Any other comments from any other commissioners before we move to adjourn? Okay. All right. Well, may we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. This is Commissioner Woods.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Ken Walburn.
Second from Mr. Walburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
We'll see everyone on September 14th. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.